Good afternoon. The time now is 3 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock, and this is the hour that we spend with our partner, our media partner, the Mossel Bay Municipality. We are currently live from our Mossel Bay studio, and we are also on the TV platform Heartbeat TV. If you just want to go and log in there and see what is happening here in the studio, then you are more than welcome. Well, today is a very important day. And in the studio with me, I've got the Chief Financial Officer of the Mossel Bay Municipality, Orlando Fredericks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Christo. Good afternoon, listeners. This time of the year, end of March, April, May, is very important for the new financial year that starts on the 1st of July. We tabled the budget on the 31st, just at the end of March. And the month of April is a very important month for the residents, for all taxpayers and those that have accounts, to give their inputs into the budget, the IDP, so that we can consolidate and present a final document at the end of May to Council for them to approve. With regards to the increases for the 24-25 financial year, that's financial year that starts on the 1st of July, ends next year, June 2025. We have proposed property rates increase of 13%. We're looking at the sewage services of 10% increase. Our refuse removal is sitting at 9%. Water services and electricity has two tariffs that listeners have to be aware of. It is the basic fee as well as a consumption fee. And for water, the basic fee will go up by 6%. Our consumption was put on the table or tabled with 9% increase. While electricity is a 14.4% increase for the consumption element of their fees or their tariffs. That's now obviously sitting with NASA at the moment, and then we have proposed a 4% increase in the basic tariffs. But later on, as I explained some of the costs, there has been some adjustments that was tabled by the mayor himself. Christo, that is in line with Section 74 of our Systems Act that we have to comply with, where it indicates that our costs that we charge our clients must be cost reflective, it must be considered to be reasonable, and it needs to take into account all costs relating to our capital expenditure, our operating expenditure, things like just having the administration running, and then replacement costs and taking into account interest charges as throughout the year. And then 2018, we did a cost of supply study where we then looked at all the costs in delivering certain services. And with that, we went and looked and we said, but we could actually split our electricity and our water bills into what we can deem to be a fixed element and a variable element. Fixed element is something we can't do away with. That would be things like our maintenance of our assets, that would be depreciation, our employee costs, just the general operations, things that we can't do without. And then we have the variable element of it, where the variable is how much consumption takes place. So if a client or a resident had to use 1 kiloliter of water, we would supply them with 1 kiloliter of water. That would cost me a certain amount, and then I will charge them in relation to how much it costs me. So it's whatever you take, I charge you, and then the same way I have to pay for that water that I am using. As part of our exercise, we kind of take a few accounts, the most common than not. And we've identified that with a municipal value of an utility household, owner that has a piece of property with a municipal value of roughly 2.5 million, they on average consume about 1,000 kilowatts of power every month and 30 kiloliters of water. They would see an increase in their bill by 11.8%, which is roughly equates to 560 Rand. And then we also then took a consumer a little bit lower, more of your middle class. They're sitting with a property with a municipal value of roughly just over 1.1 million. They use about 500 kilowatts of power every month with 15 kiloliters of water, and they would see an increase of 10.8%, which equates to 314 Rand per month for those residents. Now this is where, as mentioned earlier, during the tabling of the budget that was done by the mayor, he indicated as that during their deliberations just before the council meeting, they decided that based on the economic conditions, they're looking to not have our increases as substantial as it is. So with our water consumption, they're decreasing it from a 9% to a 6% increase. And they're also looking at a decrease on our sewage, which was at 10%. They're looking to decrease that also down all the way to 6%. The amounts that people are going to see on the additional savings they're going to see on the accounts is quite minimal. We're looking at maybe a 50 Rand reduction from those figures that I have provided. But at the same time, looking at how electricity is going and trying to get our infrastructure in place for when it does get worse, should it get worse, we are looking at increasing the basic fee on electricity from a 4% to 4.9%. That is something like a 20-25 Rand increase in just the basic fee compared to what was stable at the end of March. With regards to electricity, we had a big, let's call it, we had a hard time last year because we made away with a certain tariff and we had implemented some type of relief as well. So we're continuing with that type of relief. The residents can reduce their amperage. Every household, if you build a normal household, it's built with a 60 ampere circuit breaker. So, and that currently for the new financial year will roughly be about 450 Rand per month. With a slight increase, maybe 470 Rand per month. But with that, they have the option to reduce their circuit breaker from a 60 ampere to either a 45 or 30 to make things easier. And that will cost them significantly lower. 30 ampere goes for roughly 225 Rand or 230 Rand per month, and then 340 odd Rand for 45 ampere. We do request that should any of our listeners request a decrease, they need to please make sure that they don't decrease it to a level that it becomes unmanageable for them. In that the minute they put in too many appliances, their circuit breaker will switch off, and then they'll be running back to us to say, but please put it back, or do that for us, please. But last year, when we implemented the change, there was some type of amnesty. No one had to pay for an adjustment, but now going forward, they will have to pay a 246 Rand to have that adjustment done. The 246 Rand is standard for 30 ampere reduction or 45 ampere reduction. Our indigent rebates are currently in 4 categories. We got a valuation category. That is for anyone whose property that they stay on or where they live. Their property is valued as a municipal value of less than 125,000. So then they automatically qualify. Obviously, the poorest of the poor are sitting in households that are valued at 125,000. Then our next level, or at least our next indigent level, is a level 1. They are that is mainly based on income of a household, and when we speak of household, we talk about everybody in the household above the age of 18 who are currently employed and earning a salary. And if their total household income is less than 4,200 Rand a month, they will then qualify for level 1 indigent subsidy. Similarly, if let's say that same household also has people in the house over the age of 18 currently employed, they earn more than the 4,200 but less than the 8,400, they will qualify for our level 2 indigent subsidy. And then the last category that we do have is those households where there is a person with a disability living in the household. They then also qualify for level 1 with all the requirements and criteria having been met, and then they will also qualify for level 1 type of indigent status. Christo, we classify, as I said, the valuation indigents, our level 1 indigents, and those living with, or those households where there's a person with a disability living. They qualify for a level 1 subsidy. They receive 50 kilowatts per hour of electricity for free, along with 6 kiloliters of water. Then they also, on that level, they don't pay any basic fees. So the electricity basic fee is kind of, what I want to say, is covered by the equitable share that we're getting. There's the electricity basic fee, the sewage basic fee, and the water basic fee is covered. And then as well as property rates to a certain extent. and that is covered by the equitable share that we get from national government, because that is meant for the poorest of the poor. And then for our level 2 subsidy, obviously those that earn a little bit more than the 4,200 but under 8,400, so it is difficult for them as well. We give them a 50% discount on our basic fee for electricity, water, sewage and refuse as well. So then there is slight benefit for them in terms of that, and they get about 25 kilowatts of electricity every month, along with the 6 kiloliters of water that they then also qualify for. Well, with regards to the pension rebate, and yes, the municipality is considered like that, we do know that there's a lot of people that come to Mossel Bay to retire. So at the age of 60, let's say early retirement 60, and from 65, they decide they pack up their bags from wherever they are in the country and they come and settle here in Mossel Bay. And for the pensioners, if you are above the age of 60, or there's someone in your household that's above the age of 60, you then can qualify and apply for a pensioner's discount. This is now not covered by our equitable share, as it is for the poorest of the poor. So we try and accommodate them as much as we can. So if a household where there's people working and they are pensioners and they earn less than 18,100 rand, they will qualify for 50% discount on their property rates, their sewage, as well as the basic fee on electricity. And if the household now earns a little bit more than the 18,100, but less than the 24,200, they then fall into our second category that we have for pensioners, where they then qualify for a 30% rebate. I'm not going to say discount, discount rebate, the same thing, on the same thing, property rates, the sewage, as well as the basic fee on electricity.
I'm sure that a lot of our pensioners and indigenous people were sitting on the front of their seats right now to hear the information that was given. But where can a household apply for these rebates?
What we suggest they do is they do approach one of our debt pack offices. We have a few in and around Mossel Bay. If they feel more comfortable coming to the municipality, they're most welcome to come to us as well. We will then to our revenue department at the main building, and we will then assist them in completing the application form with regards to either the indigent or the pensioners rebate.
And then what is the process and what proof will you need when you apply?
For the applications, the indigent applications, they will need a municipal account, they will need a proof of the account holder's identity documents, a proof of income for the whole household, not just the owner of the house or the individual, a proof of registration of a person who's living with a disability, any medical certificate that can be supported with that as well, to indicate that the person does have a condition, and then any sworn affidavit that the person is a permanent resident in the household, along with a consent form for the South African Revenue Service. That's just for indigents. What I'd like to make clear with regards to our policy, and our policy is changing with regards to pensioners, we do require for pensioner, we find that there's a lot of pensioners where they were the previous owners of the house, they qualified for the pensioners rebate because they were the owners, and then during some process they then leave the property in their estate or possibly hand it down to their children. And when that takes place, they have to register a usufruct at the deeds office, because you cannot qualify for a pensioner's discount if you're not an owner. Our policy is that as such, you have to be the owner of that property, or if there is a registered usufruct where they have a right of use and it's registered with the deeds office, they will then also be able to apply for the pensioner's rebate, even though it's not in their name. So that is also very important for our pensioners out there. Firstly, I would just like to say thank you to my staff, my finance team that helped put this budget document together. We kind of have it's a rough time from January up until we get something tabled. It is back and forth, back and forth. You don't sleep. And then with regards to our residents, we just once again want to thank our residents out there for those that are paying their accounts and doing it diligently, because without cash, none of the things that we do is possible. It's easy to put numbers on a piece of paper. Yes. It's going to look on a piece of paper. But if I don't have cash in the bank, I'm unable to pay my creditors, I'm unable to pay my staff, and then we start becoming a dysfunctional municipality to a very large extent. If you look at other towns in and around Mossel Bay, not Mossel Bay, but South Africa, that's something that you'll pick up. You'll see that if you're driving down a town, there's big potholes and stuff. You kind of know that there's something not happening. I'm fortunate, and I think a lot of the residents are also fortunate to be living in a municipal area where things are run smoothly, efficiently, effectively, and trying to make it as affordable as possible for our readers out there. This is now part of our process, our IDP and our budget process. It was tabled at the end of March. The whole month of April, all our residents have an opportunity to give their inputs into the budget document, the IEP document, to share their unhappiness or share some insight into what they think might work. It might not everything has to be considered. It might not be included in the budget, but it has to be considered. And this is the time, the month of April is the time for them to be part of the budget process. So we do encourage them to bring forward any type of inputs. They can deliver it at Mossel Bay Municipality's main building, or they can email it to us at idp@mosselbay.gov.za or admin@mosselbay.gov.za if it's anything budget related. There are copies all over Mossel Bay, all our little satellite offices, as well as libraries. They are most welcome to access our website at mosselbay.gov.za. Where they then can also access the budget documents. It's lying under a little folder called documents, and if they look up budgets under that, they will then be referred to all our policies as well as the budget information that is available to the public. So everybody must get access. We kind of failed. I'll say we would have failed at our job if everybody didn't try and get hold of a copy to peruse it and then possibly give us input at the end of the day.
That was then concludes our interview today with the Mossel Bay Municipality, the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Orlando Fredericks, who's got a vast task on his hands to keep all the books and accounts and balanced and everything. But today we had the interview and it was live also on our TV platform. If you would like to go there and watch it afterwards or tonight when you get home, listen to what we have been saying here during the session, and the information was about the overview of the draft budget 2024-2025. Mr. Orlando Fredericks, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for the Mossel Bay Municipality rendering a very good service to their customers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. With us, we go back to our main studio in George. Thank you.